Hello, happy, vibrant women. I'm Carissa Bond, certified clinical herbalist. I wanted to talk with you today a little bit about women's health and how herbs are helpful for a variety of female complaints. Like I said, I'm a certified clinical herbalist, and what that means is that I have been trained and certified as an herbalist, and I specialize in clinical work one-on-one with clients, very similar to how you may go to a doctor, although I'm not a doctor. We have plenty of those. So what I do is I educate and guide women, people on the proper safe use of herbal medicine for different health challenges, complaints, or even just general well-being. I also own an herbalism school here in Prescott Valley, Arizona, so I train herbalists and then also host classes for the general public that are just interested in learning more about using herbs themselves at home. So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about things like PMS and menopause as well, or a variety of women's complaints that fall kind of in between. So there's a lot that herbal medicine has to offer when we're looking at things like premenstrual syndrome or general menstrual cramping, irregular menstrual cycles, and then the change of life called menopause, which I just want to take a minute first of all to kind of give you my thoughts on that, because I'm in that time of my life as well. A lot of us are made to feel like menopause is this illness or disease or this thing we have to fix. And I just really want you to know that I feel that this is our birthright. Okay, this is a natural, normal, healthy process of the body. Yes, at times it can be uncomfortable. So doing some things to make us feel better during this time, get through this as virtually unscathed as we can is great, but nothing really to stop this process. This is ushering us into a new time of life where we actually get to have some freedom again from a variety of things, and we come into our own and we really get to honor who we are as women and all that has made us these powerful, incredible, vibrant beings that we are. So keeping that in mind, I just want to give you the opportunity to really give yourself permission to embrace that cycle of your life. So now, along with that comes things like mood swings and anxiety and depression and difficulty sleeping and hot flashes. Oh, the hot flashes. And all of these come from the shifts in hormones that are happening. And sometimes it's all happening at a rate that's very quick. So our body is trying to adjust and not really sure how to do that. So what I want you to think about, first of all, when you're going through any kind of a female complaint, whether that is menopause or premenstrual syndrome, is that it is hormonal shifts that are causing these things. And what we have to really pay attention to is proper nutrition. We live in a world where we're eating a lot of fast food, packaged, processed food, which is really devoid of nutrients. And so our body is struggling to make hormones at the rate that it should, or as effectively as it should. So proper nutrition is key. And a lot of that comes from our dark leafy greens. Now in those dark leafy greens, along with all of the other really great things you're gonna get a lot of calcium and magnesium. And so this is really important for how our body, our cells are using the nutrients. And it's also a natural balancer for things like hot flashes and the difficulty sleeping and the mood swings. So that's really your best way to get your calcium and magnesium. Your body absorbs it more effectively when we take that in from our food. But if you're not getting enough, if you know you're not getting enough in your diet, then it's okay to do some supplementation. So making sure that you take a calcium supplement that has a little bit of magnesium in it in the morning, and then again at lunchtime. Typical that I have doctor friends recommending is 150 milligrams of calcium in the morning and then again at lunchtime. But then it's also important to take a separate magnesium supplement at night before bedtime, away from the calcium. Because even though we need magnesium in a calcium supplement that helps us to take up calcium in the body, when we are taking it for desiring the magnesium, calcium sort of blocks magnesium. So it's important to have calcium and magnesium together in the morning and at lunchtime, but then magnesium alone at night. Now, magnesium is a natural muscle relaxant. It's a natural antidepressant. So it's going to help us sleep, and it's going to help with mood swings, and it also helps with cramping and spasms. So if you are experiencing menstrual cramping, or if you get leg cramps and things like that at night, then the magnesium is going to be really helpful for that. Now, along with nutrition, we need to think about movement, or what you might normally think of as the dreaded exercise, right? Okay. I like to say movement because we all have to move. We all have to walk somewhere. We all have to do different things. And when we think of it as movement, it just becomes a more natural part of what we do, as opposed to exercise, which we have to plan into our day, and most of us tend to dread it. If you're one of those people that naturally loves exercise, awesome, I admire you. I tend to just think about movement because that makes me go, okay, it's just natural and normal. But it's important for us to get movement into our day, because that also is a way that tells our body to make our hormones correctly. And it's also an outlet for excess energy. So it's a natural anti-anxiety, and it's a natural antidepressant. And especially if we can do our movement outside in nature, where we get reconnected back to the earth. A lot of us live in cities where we're surrounded by concrete and movement, noise, negative energies. So it's really important for us to get back out into nature every once in a while. So that doesn't mean that all of your movement has to be outside, but if you're focusing at least once or twice a week to really get out and spend a few minutes reconnecting, then that's awesome. Now, once you've taken care of nutrition and you've taken care of movement, then it's okay to start looking at some herbs to add into your supplementation routine. And I'm going to talk to you specifically about 3 herbs that are hormone normalizers. And you may have heard of some of these, or you may not. Maybe this is the first time that you're hearing about them. So the first one I want to talk to you about is chaste tree berry. And the Latin name for that is Vitex agnus castus. And this is probably one of our most beneficial hormone normalizers, and we can use this at all stages of life as women. So this is something that I recommend also for girls that are starting to go through puberty, and that's kind of, whacking them out a little bit. Emotion-wise, and having their first menstrual cycles and they're not normal, they're not coming on a regular basis, or they're causing a lot of cramping, things like that, I will often recommend chaste tree berry because it really just supports all of these changes. So it's great for puberty, premenstrual syndrome, menstrual cramping, endometriosis. I've used it also in women that are dealing with uterine fibroids, and then of course in menopause. And so that can be taken as capsules, or it can be taken as a tincture, or even in teas. So I make a tea that's called Women's Transitions Tea. And so some of these things that we're talking about today are in that, and chaste tree berry is one of them. But then also I like to make tincture formulas. Those tend to be my favorite way to take herbal medicine because they're very readily used by the body. Capsules take a little bit longer for the body to respond to. The next herb that I would talk to you about is Cimicifuga racemosa, or what you may know as black cohosh. And black cohosh is also a hormone normalizer, and it's awesome for the mood swings that come with menopause or PMS specifically, and then again menstrual cramping. It is slightly sedative, so it helps with anxiety and depression, and it's antispasmodic, which means it stops the cramping of the muscle tissue of the uterus. So it helps to really relieve that cramping. And then it's also really great for hormonal cyclical headaches. So if you're always getting a migraine headache around the time of your cycle, or if you're dealing with that as you're going through menopause and you're having irregular cycles, but you're still getting menstrual headaches, then black cohosh is one you would want to take a look at. And then last of all is wild yam, Dioscorea villosa. A lot of people have heard of wild yam. They're making progesterone creams from wild yam. It does support the progesterone balance in the body, although it does not actually have progesterone in it. And you'll hear these herbs that I've talked about as being phytoestrogens. That also does not mean that they have estrogen in them, just that they support that hormone, or they fill that same estrogen receptor, which is beneficial if you're dealing with excess estrogen, because these herbs will come in, they will bind to the same receptor sites that estrogen does, which means then that the body will not be using as much estrogen as it had before. So it may mitigate some of those excess estrogen types of situations. Wild yam is also useful for mid-cycle spotting. So if you're having irregular cycles and you're getting this spotting in between, then wild yam is one that you might want to take a look at. And then of course for PMS complaints, mood swings, difficulty sleeping, this is very much a mood balancing herb. So these are three things that are really helpful for a variety of women's complaints. Now, of course, with any kind of herbal medicine, it's important to get guidance from someone who is well versed in herbs, whether that be an herbalist in your area or a naturopathic physician that has studied herbs. If you don't have one of those in your area, either an herbalist or a naturopathic physician, then absolutely you can contact me. I do work by telephone. So even if you're not in my area and can't physically come to see me, I can work with you over the phone and give you some guidance that way. So I thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you found some of this helpful, and it's some things that you can start to implement in your own life if you are dealing with some women's complaints. And you can learn a little bit more about me and what I do on my website, which is www.herbalwisdominstitute.com. And also you can, send me a message through that website if you wanted to get in touch with me, or you can give me a call. The phone number's on there too. So again, thanks so much. Happy Vibrant Women for tuning in. It's been fun talking to you today, and I wish you well.